everyone, welcome back to my channel. Good afternoon from California. So if you're new here, please introduce yourselves in the comments. I would like to know you. Where are you watching from? What is your name? What do you do for a living? How did you find my video? Who sent it to you? I'd like to say a big thank you to you guys. So while you're introducing yourselves, let me also go ahead and introduce myself as well. So guys, my name is Miriam. I'm based here in California. I'm a wife, a mom, a student, an entrepreneur. I'm also a fashion designer. But on this channel, every Sunday we talk about, issues like what I'm going to be discussing today. But typically my channel is about grants for small businesses. So if you have a small business and you need free money for your small businesses, just head over to my channel, type Miriam Adepoju on YouTube, and start to binge watch my videos and start to apply for these grants as quickly as possible. Today we'll be discussing how to overcome stagnation. But yes, before we proceed, let me first define what stagnation is. So guys, stagnation is a lack of personal movement, a lack of growth, or even development. Yes, this is something that happens in certain areas of your life, and when you start progressing, yes, and you start feeling stuck with yourself. I mean, sticking with the same patterns, these are the things that you end up doing, sticking with the same patterns, the same routines or habits, despite the fact that it is currently making you unhappy. So today I'm going to touch on how to overcome stagnation. And I also want to, learn from you as well. So please feel free to also share your thoughts with me in the comments. But before we proceed, I also want to let you know that I offer, or I host, free YouTube training once every month, and I'm going to put a link in the chat. So if you'd like to start your own YouTube channel, but you don't know how to go about it, don't worry, I've got you covered. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can go ahead and register right now. Please do also share. Do not forget to also like this video. Please like this video as you're watching, and do well to share with your village members as well. So that is the link to my YouTube training. By the way, I also have a Telegram link, and I also shared how you can win my $100 cash gift just by inviting 50 of your friends into my Telegram community. Once it's confirmed, then I will send you the money anywhere you are in the world. So I've put the link to my Telegram community in the chat. So this is the link to register for my free, YouTube training. That is what is displaying currently on my screen. And I'll also put the link to my free YouTube toolkit. So yes, if you want to start a YouTube channel, but you don't have the toolkit, you have no idea what you need, I will be giving you my free toolkit right away. I'll also put it in the chat as well. Sarah, thank you so much for joining. You guys are amazing. So yes, let's just get right into today's business. How to overcome stagnation. Yes, what to do about it. But one thing I want to say is, if you find yourself doing something like I, defined earlier, doing something that doesn't take you anywhere, or maybe you found yourself doing something really bad, like maybe smoking every day or doing the wrong things every day, and you want to stop it, and become a better person. First thing I want to tell you is this: when you stop those things, you must replace it. You can't just stop something. That space is there. You must replace it with something else. I once met someone who used to smoke. He was a serial smoker, and then when he stopped smoking, he replaced it with something else. He replaced it, at the time, he replaced it with chewing gum. He was chewing gum. I'm just giving you an example. You need to replace that attitude or that habit with something positive. Yes, you have to replace it, because if you don't replace it, you will miss that thing, and there's a likelihood that you might just want to pass time again with it, because that space is open. So the first thing you need to do is to replace your bad habits with good habits. You must replace bad habits with good habits, something that you've been trying to wean yourself off of for a long time. You have to replace it. The reason why you have to replace it is to kind of like distract yourself positively. You must distract yourself positively. Like they say, an idle man is the devil's workshop. The moment it is free, it's like, oh, okay, there's space for me to do other, bad things, so yes, good. You see, you can replace. You see, my friend said when she worked on her wish, replaced it with chewing gum too. I remember when I was in grad school in the evening, I noticed that I was always hungry at night, and I worked till like 4 a.m. at the time when I was in grad school. So one thing I did, once I start getting hungry in the middle of the night, like at 12 midnight, imagine getting hungry at 12 midnight, I started chewing gum. Yes, I started chewing gum because I know for sure that one gum will not give me any calories. Yes. So I would rather chew gum so that it feels like I am eating something. So that works too. If you can, that's okay. So chewing gum has been saving lives since 1640. If you know what I mean. So the first thing you need to do is to replace bad habits with new ones. What are things that you really want to do? And just so you know, and habit is formed after, I think, is it 6 months? When you do the same thing consistently for 6 months, you form a habit. So if you're someone that maybe you've always wanted to read, you've always wanted to, be a reader, you can start day one. Start first. Do it again tomorrow. Do it again. Do it again next tomorrow. And before you know, it's not 3 weeks. So it's 3 weeks. 6 months. When you do it consistently for 6 months, it now becomes a part of you. So if it is reading, go ahead. And if it is scrolling through internet, there are people who just scroll through the streets of the internet. And I say this, except you're making money from the internet, scrolling through can be a waste of time. Just scrolling through and spending 3 hours, you cannot account for how you spend those 3 hours. You're just scrolling through the streets of the internet. You're not making money from it. You're not a content creator, right? And you're not selling courses. You don't have digital products. Let me just say this. If you're someone that finds yourself doing this and you struggle with, spending quality time with yourself or doing something tangible with your time, one thing you should have at the back of your mind when you're scrolling through the streets of, and this is something that has helped me as well, even though I'm a content creator, this is something that has helped me. One thing you should realize is you have a bucket or a bowl in front of you, like you're holding a bowl, right? Being on the internet and scrolling away endlessly and getting nothing out of it is like you have the bowl and then you have this wind, all around. That's distractions, internet, blogs, and all of that. You have this wind blowing and you want to carry the bucket. You want to trap all the wind inside the bucket. You're your own. No. You cannot trap that wind inside that bucket. You're wasting your time. You are wasting your time. Why? Because the same air that is in that bucket, it will remain the same way. No, nothing will be added. You cannot add extra air into that bucket. That's exactly how wasting your time on the internet feels like. If you're wasting your time on the internet, the same, it will leave you back at where you were before you joined, before you went there to waste your time. You have not added anything. You have not added any value to yourself. You have not changed anything. You have not made extra money. Then it's like trying to trap the air, the wind in a bucket. It makes no difference. It leaves you at the same place. That's something I always subconsciously remind myself of. If I'm on the internet and I'm spending maybe 5 minutes longer than I should, I am reminded something is triggering me. Like, no, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be doing X and Y. You should be achieving X and Y. So you should be mindful, of these things that actually make you, lose your time, that makes you what's it called? What's the right word for this? Like, when you waste your time on the streets of the internet, you should know if this thing is making you stagnant, if it's not adding any value, especially if you've done it today, tomorrow. And one of the practice that I've been doing lately that has really been helping me, in fact, something happened really very recently, and I'm like, wow, I'm already changed. So I noticed that taking my phone to sleep, to bed, is a total, like, it messes me up. It messes with my sleeping pattern, my sleeping schedule. So what I do is I leave my phone downstairs and I come upstairs to sleep, like, every day. And then I think about 2 days ago, I had to take my phone upstairs because I needed to just do some transactions, and it was because I have a strict sleeping schedule. I had to finish up with some transactions, and then I had to take my phone upstairs. And then my friend was like, I'm surprised. Yeah, with your phone. I said, okay, I needed to do some transactions. You will not believe it. The moment I did those transactions, I left my phone and I went to bed. I didn't even scroll. What am I scrolling? There is no point. It makes no difference. When I wake up, I will, spend my time, quality time working. I'm going to spend quality time achieving quality results rather than scrolling through, because at the end of the day, you will not sleep well. You get less sleep, and the next day you are less productive. So I do my cost benefit analysis, and I tell myself, is it worth my time? No, it is not worth it. So I subconsciously calculate the amount of time I spend on the internet. If it's not adding value to me, trust me, I drop it. I don't have to be on my phone. Hey, Precious, thank you for joining. You are amazing. I think you're my oldest channel member. Thank you, Precious. God bless you. You know, so you have to be mindful, of those things that cause stagnation for you. You really have to be mindful of them. And that's why I also suggested earlier that you should replace bad habits with better habits. Yes. Replace bad habits with good habits. Now, here are some of my top tips for you as well. Try to also get into an exercise routine. Yes, try to get into an exercise routine. What it does, it gives you a clear head. Move your body, like leave your location, leave where you are. There's something I always say: if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, just keep moving. Move your body. Moving yourself, moving your body helps to promote oxygen flow through your cells, and essentially it just helps to, it helps your brain. It helps you move nutrients around your body. It helps you, with a better cognitive um thinking. So if you feel stuck in any area of your life, trust me, moving your body is the first thing to do. Sometimes it might also involve traveling, moving from one location to the other just to clear your head. By the time you come back to your zone, you're in a more relaxed state where you can think properly. You can think better than you were before you left. Now, the next thing you need to do is to write down areas that you think have stagnated. Yes, write down those things and possible reasons why you're experiencing that feeling. Yes. What exactly have you learned as much as you can? Are you actually developing and growing? And if you have stopped growing in a particular area, you may feel that you have stagnated. Please get a journal. Maybe you should just make it a habit. Write down those things. Me, um, I'm a notepad person. I take notes every single time I remember something. I write it down. So I use my notes on my phone, the notes app. If you don't have the notes app, maybe you should download it today so that you can always be mindful, take note of things. I have certain things that I do every month. Like on the first of every month, if I miss it, I can do it in day two. I send out happy new month to all of my people, all my friends. And if you have a particular habit that you want to cultivate, maybe you're someone that you don't have time to check up on people, or you suck at checking up on your friends, maybe you should make the happy new month. Or if you're a business owner, it's a good way to put yourself on the minds of your clients. You're not just there to take their money, do business with them. You also care about them, and that way you're able to catch up, you're able to chat, you're able to talk about things, and also be a blessing to them, help out in ways that you really can. So keep a journal, use your notes. If you have an iPhone, I don't know what Android phones use, I'm sure you should have something like a note. Always take mental and physical notes. Take notes, because the shortest pen is better than the shortest memory. You dance? I like that. I used to dance when I was working in my first corporate job. I used to dance when I get back from work, because it was very draining. It was mentally draining. So that was a way of finding myself. I just dance. I dance for 1 hour every day when I get back from work. Like, I cannot come and go and kill myself. The stress was just becoming too much for me to handle. So yes, that is something you can get into. You want to overcome stagnation, start taking notes. In the process of taking notes, sometimes thank you so much for sharing me out, Precious. I appreciate you. So in the process of taking notes, you start to remind yourself of yourself. You start to kind of like come back to yourself, because sometimes when you go through, because I have a lot of notes over time that I've generated, and I still keep those notes. notes. I have physical notes, right? Sometimes I visit those physical notes. I'm like, okay, let me see the things I said I wanted to do. And then I check through and I realize I've done every single one of them. I was telling my friend last week that there is no time in the world. Like if I ever take a picture of maybe fashion inspiration, I must make that outfit. If I ever take a picture or I remind myself of something or I save a post, there is a reason why I must utilize. I must. I'm not one of those people that just have, pictures in their archives and never do anything about it. I am one of those 1% of the 1% that actually take actions on whatever it is that I post. So taking notes is actually very, very important. And sometimes you might want to go back, to your old notes and see, okay, why did I write this note? And then go through it and see if you've been able to achieve maybe 1% or 10% or 5% or even 100% or even much more than you wrote down in your notes earlier. So yes, you need to actually start taking notes, start journaling, and also recognize that this is just a phase. Yes, it is just a phase, and I can tell you for free, it is a phase. It is a phase. You will get over it. And I've been in situations where I never knew it was a phase. It was the first time I was experiencing it in my life. Honestly, I felt stagnant. But at that time, it was depression, postpartum depression for me, when it feels like, I don't know if you've been pregnant before, I don't know if you also went through this. There were times I felt like this is the peak I can ever get to. This is the big, the greatest I can ever be. Like I can never go past this point. It's just a phase in pregnancy or after pregnancy that you feel stuck. You actually feel stuck. You feel you can do a lot more, but why am I just stuck? It's part of both. I went through it. Like I really went through it. But I want you to recognize that it is just a phase. That phase will fizzle out. It's just a matter of time. So whichever, I don't know how you're feeling right now. If you feel really stuck, I promise you it is not the end. It is not the devil is just trying to lie, to confuse you, and to get you thinking that that is the end. It is not the end. If it is not okay, it is not yet the end. So please always remember that it is just a phase. You can actually stay in it or move yourself through it, but remind yourself that it is just a phase, and the goal is to move yourself through it with as much grace and compassion as you can. Now, the next thing you need to do is to treat yourself like a friend. Treat yourself like a friend. You know how people tell you, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. You are kind to them. You're kind, you're understanding, you're gracious, you're compassionate towards them. You're like, no, it's okay, everything will be all right. No, it's all in your head. Treat yourself the same way you would treat a friend, because a lot of times we are hard on ourselves. A lot of times we don't even give ourselves grace. A lot of times we judge ourselves way too hard. So you need to actually, treat yourself with so much compassion and grace, and treat yourself like a friend, the way you would treat your friend. Treat yourself the same way. Remind yourself, like it's something that you have to be conscious about, So please always give yourself some grace. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, give grace to yourself, because a lot of times, like I said, we are just way, way, way too hard on ourselves. So we have to always remember that no, these too shall pass. Now, you also need to cultivate stimulating relationships. Yes, you need to cultivate stimulating relationships. Like I said, like they say, iron sharpens iron. Yes, this is actually the key to inspiration. When you see people doing greater things, like your friends are doing greater things, they're doing great things, you're inspired, right? So you need to cultivate, relationships that are well worth it, valuable relationships. Make sure that like I always say, I think I mentioned it last week as well, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with. So who are you spending majority of your time with? If you hang around 5 successful people, you're most likely going to be the 6th person. If you hang around 5 idiots, you're of course likely to be going to be the 6th person. So please choose your relationships wisely, choose your friends wisely. Also choose to become a risk taker. choose to take risks. Choose to take risks. You cannot be playing safe all the time. You have to, take risks. Honestly, a lot of times success is lying on the other side of fear. Success lies on the other, and this is something I tell myself as well. Success lies on the other side of fear. So I don't even want to imagine a time when I wished I did this or I wish I did that. There's always time. There's always another chance to do that. So maybe make today that day that you are ready to start facing risks. I'm telling you, you have to become a progressive risk taker. You have to be a risk taker. You can't play safe all the time. So get out there, give it a best shot, give it your best shot. And if you can think that it's not going to be successful, the same energy, right? With the same energy, you can also use it to think that it can be successful. So go ahead and take that risk today. Because what if you win? What if you succeed? So here are my action plans for growth today. First thing I would say is make a commitment to grow today. Make that commitment today that, yes, I want to grow. Yes, I don't want to be stuck anymore. Write a list of things that you want to become, that you wish to become. It all starts from the mind. Your mindset is actually very, very powerful. So you have to know exactly where you're going. Have a mental picture of where you want to see yourself, of your desired future. So write it down. Go ahead and write it down. Like I always say, the shortest pen is better than the shortest memory, than that short memory. Because once you forget, you have forgot. It's gone. It's wiped off. So write down a list of things that you wish to become, right? Write it down, no matter how plenty, how much it is, just write. And no matter how small you think it is, you may think, oh, this is great. Write it down, write down a list of goals that you have for yourself. There was a time I wanted to become an astronomer. I wanted to go to space. I was in high school. I was in SS1 at the time. I remember very well, one of my classmates' grandmother went to space, and I wanted to go to space. I was dreaming. I was daydreaming at the time. I was like, I wish I can become an astronaut. I want to go to space too. But with time, I realized, okay, I think I do not have that passion, as it were. But write down the list of things. It's okay to dream to be X and Y, but write it down. You never know. It can happen. There are circumstances. Things may start happening around that time. And because you've written it down, it's plain. Your goals are plain. It's clear. Then you have a direction, a sense of direction. So always write it down. Oh, really? I'm glad. I'm glad to. So just write down those goals. You never know. You can achieve it if you put your mind to. Like I always say, it starts with your mind. And that's one thing that has always worked for me. I build everything from my mind. The moment I build, it's gone. Once it's settled in my mind, nothing can stop me. Nothing, not even negativity. Because I'm not listening to anything. I'm only going by what is already on my mind. So you have to, have a mental picture of where you are going. Make that commitment to grow today. Now, one thing you also need to do, and this is something that a lot of people make a mistake of doing, prioritize one area of growth. Prioritize one area of growth instead of trying to do everything at once. Prioritize one area of growth. Now, these days, one thing that has actually helped me become more effective with my work is that I prioritize one area in one day. I give you an example. When it's time for me to shoot content or to create content, I create my content at once. When it's time for me to shoot my videos, I shoot my videos at once. I shoot 50 videos in 2 days, 25 videos in 1 day, 25 long form content, 25 YouTube videos in 1 day. So I prioritize my work. One goal in 1 day at once. I don't do too many goals. You know what I mean? Like different things. I put together one particular, area. One particular area, I work on it at once. I don't try to do this, da 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 da. No, I also delegate. I have people that handle X and Y and Z. Now I'll give you an example. Today, for instance, I intend to achieve a particular goal, like work for a whole month today. Yes, the work I'm going to put in today, by God's grace, is going to last for a month. And if God willing, I can extend it to 2 months, which means I'm going to have to work at a stretch. Like no phones, no distractions. I am just working. So always focus on one thing. Focus on one thing and do it well at a time. Then you can go to the, because if you try to do everything at once, you end up not doing anything at all. So always try to, it has helped me. Maybe you need to start, incorporating that into your programs or into your activities. Prioritize one area of growth instead of trying to do everything at once. So take one specific step this week and write it down. Take one specific step this week and write it down. And if you really, really, really want to achieve all of your goals, like you don't want any excuses, maybe you should get an accountability partner. Maybe you should tie it to something. Maybe you should tie it to some money. Okay, if I achieve these goals this week, I am going to, or if I do not achieve all these goals this week, because if you're getting an accountability partner, you must be willing to commit, and maybe money is something that motivates you. So you can tell your accountability partner, if I do not achieve these things in this week, I will give you $100, just to motivate yourself, just to push yourself. If I don't achieve these things this week, I will give you $100. And because you have committed your money into it, you can even put the money down in advance that, okay, if I don't achieve this thing this week, don't give me back my money. So you have that responsibility to make sure that you achieve those goals, because you don't want to lose your $100 cash. So maybe you should get an accountability partner and then work on it. I'll tell you something. There are times that you have a thought or you have an idea, but you don't act on it, and somebody else has acted on it. And you're like, okay. I will tell you something that I discovered today. I was in shock. Like, I was in shock. I don't even know if there's any thoughts that you've had or that you are having or that you've had that somebody else has not thought about. I don't think so. Now, a couple of years ago, I was talking to my friend about, I made a suggestion to my friend a couple of years ago. And at the time I was making that suggestion, I made the suggestion quite all right, but we moved houses. Only for me to find out today that somebody has created a business out of, like, a big business, like, and it's in the entire United States. I am not kidding you. I am not kidding. Like, I am, like, literally in shock. This is something I've never seen or heard of before. I had the original idea myself. Somebody else had the same idea originally as well, right? I'm discovering it today. But the other person acted on it and made it a business. I was actually talking about doing it with my friends, but this person came up, like, with a real business concept out of it. Like, I'm going to call my friend today and tell her, do you know that somebody else has created that business idea? So always, and this is something that I didn't do, right? Somebody else acted on it. I had the idea, but I didn't act on it, as it were, because I was still trying to figure out, how do I do this? Is it possible? Somebody came up with the idea. I saw it today's date. And I'm like, are you serious? Yes, it is not limited. I am telling you, it is not limited to you. It is who implements, and I realized that somebody else has actually worked on it today. I actually saved the page, I saved the post, so go ahead and act on it today. As you're thinking, somebody else is thinking. Somebody else has that idea. Somebody else is going to wake up with that idea and is going to work on it and is going to act on it. I can't believe I did not act on it first. It was my idea. I mean, I had the idea. That wasn't, I'm not going to say it was my idea. I had the idea. God gave me the idea. And just like Sarah said, yes, it is not limited to you. It is the person that actually ends up implementing. So if you are stuck, stagnant, and you're feeling like you can't get out of this rut, trust me, you can always get out of it. It's all in your mind. Just first thing you need to understand is this is just a phase. It's gonna fizzle out. I understand there are times that you feel like you can never get out of this rut. It feels like you have reached the end. I've been there before. Trust me, it's not a good place to be. But when things started changing, with time, I'm like, oh, so I wasn't even stuck. That's not gonna be the end. I remember vividly because it was when I had my first child, when we were back in Texas, that I had that feeling strong. It was like I was stagnant. It was like I was stuck, but with time I understood that it was just a phase. I think it was PPD for me. It was postpartum depression for me at the time, that I started thinking that this is the last bus stop, this is the end. You can never be great, you can never do this, So yes, being in the same place for way too long can actually cause stagnation. Yes, when you've been in the same place for way too long, it can cause stagnation. Try to, like I said, find people, make meaningful connections, meaningful relationships, people who are doing way better than you. Try to there are people who are not comfortable with people that are doing better than them. And I hope everyone watching me is not one of them. I think it's even better to have friends that are doing way better than you, because you're able to learn from them, you're able to grow, and you're able to become a better version of yourself. Now, sometimes we have discouraging past experiences, and because of that, we are afraid to, move on. This is the reason why some people, they they don't want to get a new job. They probably don't leave partners that are not working out. They just talk. They just want to, they will remain there, and they want to avoid taking necessary risks, so you need to leave, that situation that is not serving you. You need to leave that situation that is not serving you, and always understand that things will get better. This is just a phase. Things will get better. Don't be afraid to take those risks, because like I said, success is literally on the other side of fear. Success lies there. So if you don't go to the other side, if you don't drop fear and go to the other side, you will miss out on it. And sometimes too, when we are feeling stressed and burnt out, we're unable to think straight. A pastor once said that tired eyes don't see a bright future. Tired eyes, and this is really true. When you're tired, you don't even see. There are times that I work to the points where I know that I'm drained. The only thing that can help me is to go and sleep. Because at that point, I'm not thinking straight. I can't be optimistic when I'm tired, like I'm drained. I've probably worked for maybe 10, 12 hours at a stretch, so, or maybe 8 hours at a stretch, without blinking, without resting, without doing anything else apart from working. So understand yourself, understand your body, and understand that tired eyes don't actually see a bright future. You might need to, distress and then come back to it again. And at that time, you are more refreshed. You're in a better, you now have, you're well rested, and you can think better than you were maybe previously. So you need to also understand that you need to make progress on goals, important goals. You need to make progress on them. Check. I work with my notes all the time. I don't just take notes, I go back to my notes. I always, review every single time. And if I need to cancel it out, I cancel it out completely. If it's something I don't need to revisit, I cancel it out. I take it out, just to give more room, more space for me to take more notes. So you might need to go back, to the notes that you've written previously, and start to, address the ones that you have actually tackled. Take them out completely if you have to. But maybe if you need it in the nearest future, you can still keep it. But please, always be mindful. Always try to, review your past, your past works. Try to review your notes. Try to review your journal. Try to see double check if you're actually making progress, or you are retrogressing, or you need to make changes, or you need to do, put certain things in place for yourself or for your business. And please limit distractions as much as possible, because spending too much time on your phone, browsing social media, kills motivation. It kills motivation. Yes. The good news I have for you is that there are a lot of things that you can incorporate to get through stagnation. There are a lot of things that you can incorporate. You can work out, you can pick up books and start reading books. Yes, books actually make you a better person. Somebody this week, it was this week, somebody asked Chat GPT question that if you want to destroy a country right now, what would you do? The person talked about education. I'll make sure that, well, ChatGPT mentioned that it will, well, what it will do to destroy countries to make sure that majority of the population remain uneducated. Yeah, and they're gonna create strife between you know different tribes in the same country to cause friction, to cause damage, to the reason for the education is it was writing the reason why it's going to destroy education so that people can no longer think, yes, by themselves, so that people can, whatever, all these conspiracy theories, they can easily agree, believe anything. But when you are well educated, you are able to sit down and think critically. Nobody can just come to you and tell you nonsense and you take it like that. No, you have, you question things that just don't make sense, things that don't go well with you. You have a right to question all of these thought processes that are not adding value to you. And this reminds me of Herbert Wigwe. I just wanted to mention that in passing. The sister, I don't know what your view is about this, but his sister, he passed away, was the former CEO of the bank I worked for before I came to United States. They actually acquired the bank that I used to work for. So Access, Diamond, now Access Bank. The CEO is late. He died last year from a plane crash. He was actually going for, is it Super Bowl? And just this week his sister was interviewed, and she was talking about helping to manage the assets. His daughter is too young to handle it. She's just 26. One thing she failed to realize is, if she was talking to the girl with no cameras on, and this whatever they discussed was not on social media, then she's only talking to the girl. But the moment they brought it to social media, not just critics, you are talking to people that are smarter than you on social media. People are smarter than you. People can see through. They are lawyers. They are people that are able to tell your thought. They can look at you, talk to you for 1 minute, and they know where you're going. You're not just talking to a child here. You're addressing the world that is wiser than you, better than you. They know where you're going. So when we watched it, I was like, if only this woman knew that she wasn't talking to just that 26-year-old girl that she, has limited in her own head. We are not stupid. And that is one thing about reading. When you read a lot, you're able to see through, yeah. You keep saying you're a lawyer, but your brother, can you imagine? I saw that part too. I'm like, okay, so is she trying to tell us that Herbert didn't know what he was doing when he did not hire you to be his own personal lawyer? Of course he knew. He knows you very well. So he knew what he was doing when he willed everything to his family. Leave them alone. What if he doesn't have a sister? How about that? But the moment they brought that issue on the internet, people who are smart, people who are intelligent, who go through it, they can see through that this woman she's just blabbing. She just wants, she's giving property grabbing vibes. Somebody said that in the comments. And I agree with that. I think people should go and, work for their money and not, keep waiting for someone else, is waiting on someone else that has worked hard for their money. If they want to blow the money, God bless you. I was about to say that now. If she wants to let her blow the money, it's her family. Yes, let her blow the money. I agree, Sarah. We always agree on like almost everything, really. And I always look forward to seeing your videos. I actually watch it when I'm working, so I can think and like, yes, now you're talking. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. If you need me to touch on certain areas or a different topic, or a particular topic in mind of your interest, please let me know in the comments. I have to go live in my other group right now. So thank you all so much for joining me. I remain your girl Miriam. Guys, go and check out Sarah Donald's YouTube channel. I promise you, you will not regret it. She has a podcast as well, and she's always making sense on a channel. So thank you all so much once again, Sam. Thank you for joining. I have to go now. I think it's way past my my time here. So I will see you guys next week by God's grace. Take care of yourselves and keep winning and keep shining. Take care and bye for now.